talk about a few things for the record. That these are just things I'm putting down so that they're archived. I realize I don't have many viewers, but someday somebody might be wondering what was going on. Like, it's say popcorn. I got some shell coatings sticking in my throat. Oh, pardon me for that. Um, Marjorie Packman, federal magistrate in downtown Seattle, heard my plea to disown my family one time. It was a long time ago. Well, she refused. She laughed at me. What was that all about? Well, I wanted to disown my family because of the letters from Israel, what they contained. See, I had been kept out of the light by Allegheny County, Pennsylvania's government system, police state, until I was old enough that the sexual trafficking and brainwashing they subjected me to resulted in an abortion, and that way they could shift the storyline around to get the myrmidons jabbering that it was all my doing. You were abused, but you look what you led to. Abortion is murder. And the women didn't defend me. They didn't say, legalizing abortion was our decision and we used him. And like my stepbrother, these alien letters came from the fascist quarters that married into my family. The Nam veteran, extreme VA, the headhunter type of vigilante lobby of the old Klan, but they reconciled with good black people, the ones who performed their duty in the service, the people who opposed King for his pacifism. And there were a lot of black people who opposed King for his pacifism. So Fox Studio had an agent in my house who pretended to find letters. They knew they were just watching the clock go by. And pretended to find them and pretended to tell Rusted Root and Sean Lennon, but all of those people knew the letters were there already. It's part of a production system. The fact that these people make movies shows you what I mean when I say that this was all a cooked storyline in advance. It was a script. She says, I say is, not was, because Lennon was behind it. But let me tell you, the style of the deep thinkers of Swami Nostra around Eastwood, Pacific Palisades, and so on. The Hollywood adversary who's seeing me as a rule, that they had a right to just human fodder me too. That's the way the tune threatened to kill me, but with plausible denial. James Scummy said something numerically in code. And Toon said, he's threatening to kill me. And so I'm in the role of reassuring Toon, oh, you're getting carried away with your concerns, which was what Lennon said to Gwiener. You see how it redounds in the Fluxus voodoo. I'm in the role of Lenin assuring, Oswald was rumored to have said, "Oh, nobody's going to kill me." People walk the streets with headphones on, don't pay any attention to the missing bees and are mysteriously missing bees again. And it's all this stuff and hype about master narratives. Oh, the black man, the master narrative. They forget to see. The storyline that gets Pinkerton Floyd, erasure headed. It's like, what's the Civil War about? Slavery. Yes, it was. No, it wasn't. Yes, it was. No, it wasn't. No, Lincoln was a racist and all this stuff. Question is, it depends on who you ask. If you ask Eliza Lovejoy, he was surrounded for his abolitionism and killed. James Garfield was killed over the 14th Amendment. His inaugural address was as powerful an anti-racist speech as has ever been given by anyone. And they make like that's not part of our cultural legacy. It is, in fact, part of our white cultural legacy. So Seattle poisoned me and tortured me and beat me into humiliation. So I said, I will go back to my family and comply with all of this stuff. I was staring into space. I could tell from the blackout what kind of society we'd become. Because I lived in Vietnam when everybody was reporting what was happening. And here we were doing worse. It was bad to Iraq and Afghanistan, and there wasn't even a whisper. And I was obviously right. Look what they're pulling in Gaza. But Greener spearheaded the sliminess of Gail Burstyn, and none of the sandbaggers online. The like you look at Abu Baker and that Jewish kid he smooshes with from Electronic Infidel. Neither of them are willing to take on Peter Gabriel because they profited from the storyline. They had this pins and needles show where they were giving me scabies and poisoning me in the throat and in the stomach and threatening me with AIDS, and they locked me into two virgins pussy ball. This is the parochial representation of the magic circle of Russian Orthodox Church and Hamas, working with Toon and Governor Shapiro, and Orthodoxy, who say that it was justified. And they forged my name on the bomb. So people would point and they said, here lies John Lennon, your Messiah. And the evidence shows it was the script from the Hollywood takeover of our media. I just want it out because my family denies any of that is reasonable and true, or even that it happened. My sister was friends with Kyra Schoen, still is friends with Kyra Schoen, I bet. His father was named in the script. His father was our neighbor. He made Night of the Living Dead. You can't see the AIDS attack as Night of the Living Dead. You can see Gaza as Night of the Living Dead. And Cornel West did nothing but harm. everything he came up with in Seattle Pursuit as a justification for Ripper murdering Shannon Harvest, for threatening to kill me and poisoning me, and following me around with attack prostitutes and trying to make it look like I was the one who was being abusive. And all of the drama and production system that went into a script that came from CMU, where people like your major cinema movie directors cross paths, where Godspell came from, where Ming Na Wen was hired by Oliver Stone, and so on. I mean, there are filmmakers who cross paths at CMU who went on to be very important. And Toon has this whole thing stoked up with a secret circle society of Lenin espionage. Why can't we draft Jimmy to be the walrus, is what he thinks. And our society has fallen to the pit. Really, the administration of the schools are worthless people. They could have put, Harvard made a stink when they said to cut, when Toon said to cut back on academic freedoms. They could have said something about torturing a deaf library clerk. They're not under an oath of silence or an omerta about something like that. Pitt could have said something about the murder of senior faculty and the sneaky way that Yoko Ono crept in with espionage at Pitt News and set me up. They could have said something about the pornographic genocide on Mount Desert Island that was set up by a Society for Human Ecology that was in on it with Gail Burson, had members of the CIA on their board of trustees. But no, they say leave it to Oliver Stone and Mel Gibson. Mel Gibson smashes his girlfriend in the face, or his wife, the mother of his child. He smashes her in the face. These people destroyed me. Not supposed to go along with Nancy Moore's poo-poo. Jimmy got his things all muddled up about a spike through a King Crimson head or something. Mom, where did she get the spike? That's from a Mildred Pierce movie. And Ian Wadmaker told me about Berserk, that image. So it's a revenge attack. These people killed the Kennedys and are using Hollywood to control what we're allowed to say. And what the Shannon Harp, what? How did Ripper murdering an innocent bystander make one size fits all and justify failure to warn so that people were at risk? Because Penis Gabriel believes that they're only naked and alive when they're not sure that they're safe. Nobody may be sure they're safe. Nobody may be sure they're safe. So he has people out in tent cities or on the sands beyond Rafa, and he drops bombs on them. Don't you dare feel safe. Don't you dare feel safe. One size fits all. Don't you dare feel safe. And Cornelius West is endorsing this with stories from Margaret Mead. You didn't shudder when I wiped my booger on you right. You didn't shudder right when I biologically linkage to you. Nah. That means Clint Eastwood's going to teach you some manners. This is their mind, their collective mind.